CK Venkataraman, Managing Director of Titan, joins us now. Venkat, good morning. Thank you for joining us now. For the quarter gone by, even though it was not like the blowout quarter for the jewelry market per se, demand was impacted because of few wedding days. There was volatility in gold prices. Are things looking up now?
Yeah, July has certainly been better than, even quarter one had two parts to it. Roughly the first half of it up to Akshaya Tritiya, which is around the 7th of May, if I recollect. That part, the growth YOY was very good, but thereafter, the balance of the quarter was when the challenge came, where multiple things like extreme heat, gold prices, election excitement, plus election-related pressures on movement of gold and stuff like that. But July has certainly been better.
How much has the sale or uptick in July come largely because of import duty cut?
No, not really, because we typically have what is called a Festival of Diamonds starting sometime around the 10th of July this year. I think it started, and so we started seeing better growth even before the budget came. But of course, the budget helped the gold jewelry business because that's where the impact of the budget was. So right through July, things were better.
Great. So are you maintaining your guidance of your jewelry EBIT margin, the band of 12 to 13% that you had earlier indicated?
I wouldn't like to say anything on this call on that, but our overall confidence about the industry's prospects, the positioning of Tanishq with its strong value proposition continues to be strong for the year, in the medium term, in the long term. So nothing really changes from that point of view. That's what I would say.
But there are, let's say, multiple factors at play now. Early evidence of rural recovery is there, two-wheelers, FMCG companies. Early evidence of good monsoon, which will translate into better uptake and better crops, that is there. Inflation base effect has kicked in. These are factors which perhaps did not exist same time last year or a quarter ago, 2 quarters ago. Could they be tailwinds for you?
At the same time, a lot of brands are in the fray, vying for the large industry opportunity that is there. And some of the factors that you're mentioning, the Tanishq brand plays in a certain part of the market, and not all that you mentioned would have a bearing on customer segments from whom we get a bulk of our business. So it'll be a combination of things. What is certainly emerging is that we need to up our game in terms of the standards, the innovations, the excellence that we play at for us to continue to keep growing at the rate at which we've grown for a long time. It's a good situation to be in. It'll pull out everything that we have in terms of our capabilities and strengths. So we are really looking forward to the exciting times that are around us and in a way increasing in multiple ways.
Answer my question. Will it get better, or these tailwinds do not matter?
No, I answered. I mean, I thought I'd answered at least. Some of these are not, tailwinds which the Tanishq brand and the kind of customers Tanishq, you're talking about the rural and the monsoon related thing, which has a relatively lower bearing on the Tanishq brand. That's all I meant.
Okay, thank you. Maybe I understood it wrong. What is the way to understand, with every large category, we look at factors like market share gain, penetration levels, organized to versus unorganized mix. So for a Tanishq jewelry buyer, how is the big picture stacked up in terms of market share, penetration level, organized versus unorganized, the headline numbers?
The overall opportunity you're talking about Tanishq, the brand, right?
There is a size of the jewelry market. Within that, I'm sure there's a cut for Tanishq, the market share. How much have you penetrated there? I mean, the factors which you look at in terms of deciding the consumer.
We actually look at the whole market. We don't look at the organized sector market because it's way too large to not consider it. For example, we have expanded substantially in towns like Raxaul, Madhubani, Sitamarhi, which are towns in Bihar where none of the organized sector brands actually are there. But we've gone there in the last 2 to 3 years and made our presence felt. And it's because we're looking at the whole market of 600,000 600,000 crore marketplace. So, because jewelry is not really like other categories, it's a store of value. There is a lot of trust factor sitting in it. There's a lot of opportunity to still improve the overall quality in all the aspects that customers seek. And therefore, we look at it as a total market where our share today may be 8 to 9%, and there is a reasonable headroom for us to grow in the cities where we operate as well as in new cities like what I mentioned. So it is the whole market that we look at.
So going forward, Venkat, where is it, do you think the big growth kicker is going to come in from? Is it going to continue to be tier 1 where you have a large presence, or do you think growth will actually come in from smaller store additions that you've been making in tier 2 and 3 cities?
Actually, it is, everywhere. The jewelry market is so large. Like this Friday, we are opening or sort of reopening our flagship store in Chandigarh in Sector 17. And Chandigarh is as, metro as you can get in that sense. And it's a much bigger store in the same place that we've been for close to 20 years. And it's an expansion of a different nature where we become much bigger, much better place to serve the wedding customers of Chandigarh, the high value diamond jewelry customers of Chandigarh, even as we are opening stores in in the small towns of Punjab and Himachal. For example, we've opened in certainly opened in Solan, not far from Chandigarh, about a couple of years back. We opened in Mandi in Himachal. We opened in Hoshiarpur in Punjab. So both Mandi or a Hoshiarpur as well as the most upscale part of Chandigarh are both drivers of growth because our market shares are still not very large, even in those cities where we are already present.
Interesting. So tell me, what's the current store count and what's the store addition that you're looking at by the end of the fiscal?
I don't have a exact number to share, but the total store count has exceeded 3,000 as we speak, including Carrot Lane, and we would be looking at I think around 300 stores for the current fiscal across all our brands, if my memory serves me right.
A lot of your old-time investors, when I spoke to, they are of the view that, look, it's too early. We are not judging it, but we have to watch the diamond space, considering that artificial diamond is now occupying mind space and also is becoming center stage in a lot of fashion, a lot of so-called, with a lot of, in terms of mainstay of fashion. How disruptive is that for your diamond business?
I had a sort of longish kind of response to this last week on the call, but let me just sort of repeat this for some perspective on this. If you look at the American jewelry market and the diamond jewelry market, which has been substantially disrupted by the lab-grown diamond entry, 2-3 things are the reasons why that has happened there. One is that the diamonds have, and particularly large diamond solitaires, have played a central role in American weddings for almost forever, you could say. And even the films and the society has celebrated the size of that diamond rock over decades, and it was almost like a pressure on the male to buy the largest diamond rock that he could for his fiancée when he proposed, or even at the time of the wedding. And it was a celebratory moment for the young women to show off, saying that, look, this is the kind of rock that I was bought by my boyfriend, by my fiancé. And therefore, the whole buyer of diamond jewelry and this kind of diamond jewelry in the US is the male. And the reason is that, in a sense, if I can call it, the celebratory role that rock plays in that relationship at that time and all that. Whereas Indian diamond jewelry is marked by much smaller diamonds. It's more about necklaces, jhumkas, bangles and all that, where much smaller diamonds are used. The people who are buying the jewelry are often women, mostly women, families, and therefore this motivation of the male, buying something to show off how special she is to him is simply not there. That's one. The second is the American diamond market is characterized by a very high penetration of diamond jewelry, maybe as high as 80-90% of the people in America own diamond jewelry, and therefore the headroom for growth is very low. Contrast that with India, where it may be in the teens at best, and every woman, every family is waiting for the time, when their affluence gives them a chance to acquire that diamond jewelry that they've been wanting for a long time, and the kind of diamond jewelry that I spoke of. And therefore, we expect the Indian market to behave. And of course, third is the store of value aspect of it, which is not at all a marked thing in the West. And when I buy diamond jewelry, I want the value in that to be sort of protected in some sense. And the continuing spiraling drop of the LGD prices is a little against that need as well. So we expect this to play out in a very different way in India. And it's also the industry's responsibility not to sort of aggravate this problem. The American jewelers have brought their own LGD into their stores and also got customers to compare them, with so much of ease. So all these will have a bearing on how it affects, and I'm sure the Indian industry will also play it in a particular way.
Okay, so we'll have another longish conversation on trends maybe next time, but I just want to wrap it up with one more question. Now, while the mainstay for Titan jewelry business is Tanishq, but you also have other brands, Mia and some other brands, which essentially cater to a different class and a different clientele. Would you be looking at venturing into the artificial diamond space with a completely different brand but run by Titan, not in the Tanishq store, but maybe somewhere else?
Actually, those are the kind of things which are likely to happen, like I said, unlike what the American jewelers did it in their own stores. So I have nothing concrete to share about a plan like that in response to your question, but yes.
Well, fantastic. Nice to have you on ET Now, and hope to see much more of you going forward. Meanwhile,